Welcome back to another episode of A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast. I'm Angie Dhillon.
And I'm Rose Dhillon.
And I'm Alvin Dhillon.
And I hope you all had a great week. We're just going to fill in and talk about a little bit about what our week was like before we get into another episode today.
Fantastic.
How was your week?
It was hectic. Again, another busy week. As you guys know, I'm in sports and entertainment industry, so it doesn't sleep. So I sometimes spend Saturdays checking emails and catching up. And then, this is our podcast is another full-time job. So, and then we had the bridal shower this weekend. That was a lot of fun, but again, another busy day. And maybe I'll let you share, Ange, your experience of the shower.
Well, before we get to me, let's go to Al. How was your week?
Yeah, it was busy too. I was fixing stuff up around the house, need some repairs. A lot of times you start off, you think you got the job down, you know what's involved. Then you open something up and you're missing a part or you need to go get something and then you go back and forth. And main thing is I got it done. I got the job done. Yes, project complete.
You're a good handyman, Al.
Yeah, you're a great handyman.
Thank you, Mike Holmes.
Yeah.
Al's done a lot of stuff in my house, so I'm really appreciative. Thank you.
Yeah. It's great. I have a brother and I have a dad that can fix anything, repair anything, and make anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And IT.
Right,
In-house IT.
Yeah.
Desk
And
side
in-house
support.
accountant. We're really lucky, Ange.
We haven't had to outsource too much stuff, It's all been in-house.
Yep.
In-house.
I'm sure you guys haven't started making your own clothes yet. That'll be the next thing.
That's on our bucket list.
That is on our bucket list.
That is on our bucket list. I had a hectic week. I'm not sure if I've shared this before, but I actually work in comms professionally. My day job is comms.
What's comms?
Comms is communications. Okay. So I work in communications full time. I love what I do. Often it's stressful sometimes because you work very closely with leadership. So you're conveying their message, rewriting things. But it keeps me on my toes and I've learned so much. So that's my day job. And of course, my passion project is this podcast. And from time to time, I will get ambushed at bridal showers and get swayed into emceeing events and things like this. And I don't mind doing these types of things, but I like to always go into things a little prepared. I kind of want to know, what do you need me to do? What do I have to say? I'm not too big on, here, you have 5 minutes and just go. To credit my cousins, I think they have a lot more confidence in me because so we had a bridal shower over the weekend and I have this one cousin, love her, but she has fear. Actually, quite a few of our cousins have fear of public speaking. They don't like to speak. They're usually the shy ones in our group and quiet ones. So I'm a little more outspoken. And this one cousin of mine actually was quoted as saying that she would rather die than speak. That is what she said. Yep. And maybe we'll get her to put in the comments that, yes, that is true. That is a true statement that I actually physically did say that one time. So that cousin that doesn't like to speak or that would rather die than speak approached me in the morning, sent me a text message and said, "Hey, Ange, can I get you to help me out with some games at the shower party?" And I'm like, heck, how hard could it be organizing a bunch of games at a shower party? I get there and she's like, "No, I need you to MC the entire thing. There's about 25, 30 ladies. And I'll tell you, there's nothing scarier than emceeing a party with a bunch of your aunts because they are there to party. They have this energy.
Good time.
They have all this energy amped up. It's actually pretty scary. I'd rather go and speak to a bunch of elementary kids and talking about bullying than maybe talk to some of my aunts about what I'm going to tell them. So anyhow, I did the event. It was fun, but let me tell you, picture this. You got about 40 people in a room. It's chaotic. Everybody's screaming, yelling. I'm trying to talk about, I'm trying to address some of the games or give out the ground rules for the games. I got an aunt in the background saying, Ange, make sure you tell everybody to clap. And this is how we're going to decide on who the winner of the game is when we had our own rules. I got another aunt yelling in the background to make sure that I tell everyone that's there to fill in their name. There's going to be some sort of prizes or there's another area where you're supposed to give the bride some advice. So I had to remember to make sure that I reminded everybody there. Then I had another aunt telling me that at 12:15, the spring rolls are going to come out. And at 12:45, the food was going to come out. So I'm telling you, it was chaotic. It was like Dolby surround sound.
I didn't help. I was like, "You're too low. I can't hear you back here."
You're a heckler. You're one of the hecklers. I had a couple of cousins there in their little heckling group.
That's a recipe for disaster. You have a bunch of women day drinking.
Yeah. Old Indian women. I mean, they're not old, my aunts. They're really funky. But
They're fun. They're good
older
time.
women, right? And they're your elder, and they if you ask them to say anything, they're like, oh no, but they need me to convey their message. So all 5-6 of them are coming at me as I'm trying to host. Keep in mind, there's not a microphone here. And I was actually trying to preserve my voice because I'm actually hosting another event next week in a couple weeks, or actually not the week after. So I really didn't want to yell, and nobody understood. They're like, speak louder. Yeah, everybody was yelling, and lo and behold, we got through it. My cousin appreciated it. I know she's listening and watching this and probably like, oh man, what did I put my cousin through? But you know what I realized? I don't know if we spoke about this in any of our episodes. I need to start setting boundaries because I almost feel like no boundaries.
I didn't realize I was having a great time. I was just mingling with everybody, and I was like just yelling and heckling, and I realized, oh, Angie actually get to enjoy the party because she was busy doing all the work up there while I was sitting engaging with everyone. I had a great time.
I came with the intent to have a great time. I'm like, I'm going to sit back, because when you work in comms and you're also doing social content, this kind of stuff, you're always on. You're always in that creative juice space. So sometimes you want to just decompress, just come and sit down and watch everyone else have a great time and just be a spectator. And that didn't happen. So I think I'm learning now. Well, I'm going to now set more boundaries and say, listen, for future parties, I have no problem helping out and hosting and whatever you need me to do, but just give me a little bit of a heads up, or just what I need to say.
I have a rule of a 48 hour to 72 hour
rule.
Yeah. Because I feel like I've noticed that everyone comes to you last minute. I mean, I do it too. And actually, I have a really great story to share about my sister, which I thought was so amazing. I live in a suitcase. I've been living in a suitcase for I don't know how long. And so I came to this event and I had a nice dress and I forgot to pack my shoes. And I was like, oh no. And it was raining and I had just one pair of shoes that I could try to get into, but it was extremely uncomfortable. And my lovely sister changed her outfit last minute and gave me her shoes. And I was very touched by that. Like, that was very kind of you.
Good job, Cinderella.
I actually took the shoes off that I was wearing.
She took her shoes off because it was the only one that would match my dress. And she went and changed her outfit.
And I wore a backup pair of shoe. But, I did that because I didn't hesitate. I mean, I think the old Ange, I was a little crustier in the past. I probably like, no, why don't you pick your outfit properly? You should have organized it, blah, blah, blah. I probably would have done a song and dance, given her a speech and a lecture. Maybe gone Tony Robbins on her and Oprah, and I didn't this time. I just thought, you know what, this is a sucky situation. How can I help? And I think that's the nature of the game with life now. Like, how can we lighten the load for someone? So I took my shoe off and I didn't hesitate because I felt you probably would have done the same thing for me.
Well, I always just do that. We know that that's me, middle child. It's just the nature of always having to give up something. It doesn't feel like it's not organic, but I know your fashion thing is, it's got to be perfectly lined up and matched. I mean, you have your earrings to your everything down to the T. So when you just didn't hesitate to take a shoe off, I was like, I don't want to cry right now because it's going to ruin my makeup. But I was so tired.
Thank you.
I was really touched. So yes, I really appreciate what you did for me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I think you just got to go with the flow now. And I think that's one thing that I've learned through life, through my trials and tribulations. Like, life's just going to throw some curveballs your way, and you just don't be so rigid, just loosen up a little bit. And I did bring a backup pair because I had a funny feeling. I have this intuition and sixth sense where I can kind of predict things, or I think, you know what, something's going to happen.
Psychic in the family.
So I had a feeling you were going to do that. So I thought, okay, what's another pair of shoe that can go with this dress? So I brought my backup pair. And I'm glad it all worked out.
It did. It really did.
It did. Anyhow, bridal shower worked out. It was
backup pair was with basketball shoes.
It was great. Although I think it would be nice, maybe if our family could trial a concept where we do Jack and Jill bridal showers, where sometimes maybe the men could come, because it's a lot of fun. These shower parties are a lot of fun.
I think our shower parties, our family parties, are a riot. They're a hoot. I look forward to them. Like, just, the women, everyone puts their hair down, has a good time. We just say whatever we want to say. No one's there to judge. No one's there to look. I enjoyed it so much yesterday. Yeah. I had a great time.
I think the energy in the room was amazing as well.
Agreed.
We were all kind of bouncing off of everyone's energy.
Yeah.
So now that we got what we did out of the way, I wanted to talk to you both about something that I think it's important for us to speak about. I don't know how you both feel, but I feel like there's something going on in the world right now. I feel like there's a dark energy, a dark cloud. Everyone that I've been speaking to or that I hear about, somebody's depressed. Their suicide rates are high. We've got an opioid crisis. And I'm just thinking, like, does everyone just have a shit dialogue going on right now? Excuse me for saying that, but just what's going on in our inner minds, inner thoughts? Because I just think right now, like, there are a lot of darkness. At least this is what I'm feeling. I could be wrong, but I'm feeling a lot of darkness. And I just think that we're not all having good conversations with ourselves.
I agree with you. I think there is a lot of darkness in the world right now. I think coming out of this pandemic, the war in Ukraine, everything that's going around. And remember, we have access to information like we've never had before. So that makes a difference. You're a lot more aware of what's happening. And we're all connected, and we're all going to feel. I mean, I know I feel a lot more than probably the average person when I feel someone else's pain. I think just that people don't want to talk about it because it just feels taboo. And so just like suffocating yourself with it or numbing it feels like the right way to go versus talking about it, which is so much more therapeutic when you talk about how you're feeling or what's happening in the world, how it's affecting you. There is so much power in communicating about it. So I agree with you. There's definitely something going on in the world. There is a dark cloud, and we got to fight the dark cloud with goodness.
I actually, before I get to you, Al, we actually spoke about this with an aunt of ours who were actually, she's a family friend. She's a psychologist. And she said, she coined the term Kalyug, that we are in a period of Kalyug, what actually in the Hindu scripture means that we're in a period of darkness right now. Hence why we're seeing all this strange behavior or just a lot more negative things in the media today. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Al, what are your thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, I think I gotta agree with you on that. I think the pandemic basically like brought out a lot of the hidden problems that we were kind of like putting aside and suppressing with bad habits. And we were forced to kind of address those issues by just being at home 24/7, not being allowed out, not able to interact, just being in your own bubble. And I think once we were let out, people were still kind of, it's like PTSD. You're still dealing with that stress from before. And I think a big part of the issue is that the cost of living is just skyrocketed in the last, I would say, 7 to 10 years. The wages are exactly the same, but you're talking now buying food. Like when we used to go to the States, it was always significantly cheaper to buy food there. Groceries, even like junk food would be cheaper. Now when you go there, it's pretty much the same price as in Canada, but we're losing on our dollar. But you go to McDonald's, it's like $10, $11 a combo. Even the healthy food is so much more expensive than the junk food. Everything has gone up, but wages and everything are exact same. So people are feeling that stress of, especially when you have kids to feed. Now you're looking at college, if they're going to pay for that. Just getting by on like $50,000 a year, you can't even make a living on that, or you can't even own anything. And then the rent has gone up too. So if you don't own something you want to rent, it's pretty ridiculous of what's out there. So that's a huge stress when you know that every day you go to work and you're on a hamster wheel, and it's not even like you keep going on the hamster wheel. You almost feel like you're not able to keep up with the wheel because it's just going too fast and you're not able to go at that speed.
Yeah. So
I think it's sad what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I feel with the pandemic, because we all, we were in a lockdown, we were limited in our bubble with who we could gather with. I think what happened is prior to that, we were all just go. It was just, we didn't have time to stop and reflect on what's going on inside, what's going on with, are we happy? Do we enjoy our job? Or are we happy in our relationships? Just, are we progressing through life? And I think the pandemic just forced all of us to just stand still, and you had to really look inward, right? Because there was really nothing externally that you could go. Heck, massage places and acupuncture, even nail salons were closed. Movie theaters were closed. You really didn't have an outlet to go and distract yourself. It was just really you with your own thoughts. And some of us don't like who we are, right?
Agreed.
Okay, so as I was saying, I think the pandemic forced us to have a dialogue with ourselves, whether we wanted to or not, because there's nothing else going on. You had to really look inwards to like, why am I not feeling whole? Why does my heart ache? What's really going on? I might have the kids, the house, the job, this amazing lifestyle, but I'm still not happy. That's how I feel. Now, I want to ask you both a couple of questions. When did you become aware of your inner dialogue, or did you even know that an inner dialogue concept actually exists?
Oh, good question. I don't I was very more unconscious for a very long time. For me, it was going through a divorce that made me have to figure out, I didn't realize I had control over my thoughts. I always just thought my thoughts come in and I have no control over them. They just come and go. It was that process when I had to go in and, like you said, dig deep and listen to my own inner dialogue. And that's when I realized I've got some self-esteem issues. I've got some insecurity issues that I need to work through. That was the first time that I really became aware of my inner dialogue and recognized that it's not a pleasant environment. It's not a playground. It sometimes can be a really dark place and a dark hole. And once you go down that rabbit hole and you just keep feeding that dark hole, it gets bigger and bigger. And so for me, it was having to stop and reflect. So now, it still comes, it's work all the time, but I'm more mindful of when it comes in and I let it sit for a few minutes. And then I say, all right, what do you want to do? And then I just let it release. 'Cause I can't hold on to it now. And that's what's really helped me stay positive, stay afloat, be happy, be more joyful, staying in the present moment, not focusing on things I have zero control over, because I've realized I have no control over the external environment, only the internal environment, which is my thoughts, which leads to my emotions.
And do you find that when I've learned, it took me a long time to figure this out, when those thoughts arise in your mind or when they come in your mind, if you challenge those thoughts no longer have power. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Like Eckhart Tolle says, if you sit with yourself and meditate and you know that there's just thoughts racing through your mind, just say that line to yourself, I wonder what thought will come in next. And it really does silence that thought because it doesn't know what to do now. It's like you've challenged your own thoughts. And I know every time I do that, I wonder what thought will come next. It's almost like my mind's like, what? And it just goes silent for maybe 10 seconds, but it's really peaceful and nice.
Mm-hmm. Al, what about you? When did you become aware of your inner dialogue or when you realize who's that voice or what's that voice inside my head?
I would say just the saying inner dialogue, I probably just heard about it maybe from Rose like a couple years ago. Before then, I never even paid attention really to my inner dialogue, maybe up to the last few years. I was kind of just like every other person out there, just living life based on what society tells me. So just get a job that pays well and just you do your thing. And on the weekend, all I did was look forward to partying. So basically, I was just not actually living what I thought was like a happy life. I just thought this is what I'm supposed to be doing because that's what you've been taught. You go to school, get a job, continue working. But I found that I did not like the occupation I was in. And I couldn't wait for the weekend to come around to go and party with my friends, get drunk, forget about the week, and then do it all over again the weekend after. But that's really not the way to live, because as you get older, you realize your body can't even take that much partying and that kind of drinking. And like after a while, by like midnight, you're kind of like, I'm getting sleepy. Like I need to go home. And everyone's like, no, the party's just starting. We're going till like 3-4 a.m. I'm like, I'm going to go sleep soon, man. So I started listening to myself more and paying attention to my inner dialogue. And yeah, it was not very pleasant, especially when you're like just sitting there by yourself, not drinking, not smoking weed. And you're kind of like, feels kind of boring. You start looking at life like, oh, life's kind of boring. But you kind of actually have to, like Rose was saying, sit with it. You got to work through it. And my biggest thing is when the thoughts come up, I try to look back and say, okay, what caused these thoughts to arise? Like, what did I do in the last 2 days that caused these thoughts to come up? And usually it's my own doing. So it's like, well, why do I feel like shit today? Like, well, yesterday you clearly ate bad food and you ate sugar, didn't exercise, didn't do nothing, was a couch potato. And now you're wondering why you don't feel like 100% today. So a lot of it's my own doing, but yeah, you got to sit there and kind of like pick at it and see what's causing it. What can you do about it? And some things you just can't. So you just let it go and wish that tomorrow will be a better day and just take it one day at a time. Because I find if I think too far ahead, it actually looks like a daunting task. Like, oh no, is this what's going to be like next week and next week? And you start creating all these scenarios in your head. And I think like our biggest fight is with ourselves in our own head because no one else has created it. It could be from what you watched, what you saw, but it's up to you to keep like thinking about it and reminiscing about it in your own head.
Mm-hmm. And before I have you answer that question, I just wanted to share with the viewers like this quote of mine that I remind myself when I go down that rabbit hole: an untrained mind is your worst enemy. You know, essentially, just like you have to go do push-ups to get your nice arms or stomach crunches to get flat abs, you have to work at that mind to get it to be in a positive place, to be in a place where it works with you and not against you.
I have an Angie Dhillon original quote that's me. And I say this all the time. I say it to myself, in life, it's you versus you. Every morning when you wake up, it's you got to look at yourself. The fight is against you, yourself, to be better, to be stronger mentally, emotionally, physically, to be a better human being. That's the real fight. It's you versus you. It's not about anybody else. So that's my original special
I
one.
like it. So
Thank
answer
you.
the question. When did you realize about your inner dialogue?
Oh, you know what? I always felt at a really young age that I was different. I'm going to have to condense this because I'm going to talk about this on another episode. I always felt I had this female energy almost guiding me through life. I've gone through a lot of difficult situations in life. And for some reason, I always felt I was going to be okay. And not because people told me I was going to be okay, but I always felt this energy around me, like, get up, fight. It's you versus you. It's, whatever people are doing to you, it has nothing to do with you. They're just unhappy in their own lives. But you're going to go in and do bigger things or better things. And I just always ran with that motto. And I never succumbed to drugs, drinking, partying, or any of that sort of stuff. I just always somehow got myself out of that situation by being mentally strong. And I didn't have any vices in that sense. I actually read a quote online. I don't know who it's from, but I love it. And I want to share this with both of you as well as our friends, our digital friends. It says here about your inner dialogue. It says, your inner dialogue is a painting. You are the artist. How powerful is that? Mm-hmm. You are the creator of your own destiny, your own portrait. It's you.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, how do
you to say that line? Is that right?
Who says that in our family?
Oh, my favorite uncle.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah.
How do you interpret that dialogue, Al? Your inner dialogue is the painting. You are the artist.
Oh, that's very true, because you got to take accountability for your actions, and you have to look at your life to see, okay, why am I in this position, or why am I feeling this way, or why am I so unhappy? You can sit there and blame the whole world and say, oh, well, my husband left me, my kids are this or that. But your kids didn't just become that way. They were trained at a young age. They were born. Whatever you put into them is what you got out of them. So there's got to be some accountability. Like, I feel like as we get older, you meet people that are unhappy in life. Like, I'm not going to say I'm the happiest person. I'm working on myself every day, one day at a time. But I choose to be a little bit more positive than negative. And when I see myself going down that rabbit hole of being negative, I'm like, okay, stop that. Because I know your mind is going to go down that hole. And tomorrow and the next day, you're going to be feeling like shit because you brought that upon yourself. So some people just got to take some accountability to say, okay, I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling happy. What can I do now to improve my lifestyle, improve my mental health moving forward? Because complaining and blaming the whole world, blaming your job, blaming life, blaming the economy, that's great, but that's not going to do nothing for your mental health and for your own happiness. It's just going to literally make you more bitter. And you're going to be like, what I've seen people that are, when they get to their seniors age, like the 60, 70, I feel like I only see two types of people. People that are bitter and people that are just go with the flow, happy with life. Like, yeah, it didn't work out. It is what it is. And there's some people that are just salty and bitter all the time. They want to blame everybody else around them to see why they're in this circumstance at this age. Mm-hmm. And I never want to be that person, because I find those people I can't stand.
I hate being around them.
I can't, and I try to build them up, bring my positivity, but 20 minutes later, they're like back at it again, going, just stewing in their own negativity. And I'm just like, yeah, you got to go figure that shit out.
Well, you remember that I was telling you about when my cousin was telling me you are an average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And she had a friend who was like, oh, I just pushed down a friend and added you in because you're more positive. You bring more value to my life. And I was like, I like that.
Amazing. Well,
that's a good one. You're an average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
I agree. I think you brought that up a couple weeks ago, and Al actually was being cheeky and said that he has a wait list on his, and that you and I are kind of queued up.
Yep.
We're gonna put
you guys are like a close, like 5th or 6th in there.
But I really want the viewers, and I'm going to probably say this like multiple times. You're going to see me have my like one-liners, and it's mostly just planting seeds to think about it, to address who are the people in your life, because you really are an average of those 5 people. So keep your circle close and think about who's in it, who can stay and who might have to be removed. You know,
and shout out to your LKC policy.
Yeah, love, kindness, and compassion. I'm always going to bring that one up too. I'm going to try to get a sweater made for you guys. It's just it's a little busy right now, but I will.
I just had an idea. I'm going to get that sweater made that says, is that right?
No,
And I'm gonna wear it when I go to my uncle's house.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
He's
That's
gonna
a great
love that.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay, before we close, I want to just say, if someone right now that's listening to us right now is not having a pleasant inner dialogue with themselves, or is struggling through some sort of mental health issues, or perhaps in a depressive state, what advice do you feel that we can give them individually?
I like that one.
Because I feel sorry to cut you off. I feel like we're always talking about these, these subjects, but I feel like we should be sharing what helps us out.
So for me, what really broke my spell was positive affirmations. People say, no, they don't work. They're not. No, they do. You just have to consistently 90 days go at it, because meditation is hard when you have trains of thoughts that are not pleasant. You can't just quiet that down. But if you can at least just break it with positive affirmations, and whatever affirmations, you can find them all online. I am kind, I am pleasant, and just keep doing that. I really find that helped me. And then I moved over to, meditation, but start with positive affirmations.
That's a good one, Rose. Al?
Yeah, I think for me, what works, or what's continuing to help me get there, I'm not gonna say it's like the golden ticket, but I find it's a mixture of things. Like you got to do. I do affirmations about 20 minutes before I go to sleep, and I test them all out too. There's some of that just I don't like their voice, I don't like their delivery. It doesn't work for me. If I'm already not liking that, I know it's not gonna get into my subconscious. So there's certain ones I find work really well. I got to do the meditation. My biggest mountain I'm trying to climb right now is be consistent with fitness, because I get lazy with that. I'll read books, I'll meditate, I'll do all the other stuff, but I know fitness gives you the biggest bang for your buck, but I'm still trying to get there. But I think all these things, they help you, but you really got to get down to the core and do a paradigm shift to look at why am I always looking at life from a negative lens? And you have to be on top of that, because you'll find yourself on a Monday morning when you got to go to work and you got a lot of work to do. Right then and there in the morning is when you'll realize how your day's gonna go. If you start off your day on the wrong foot, or you're frazzled in the morning because you're running late or doing stuff, that sets the tone for me for the rest of my day. So I have to nip it in the bud right there. And what I find is my alone time is me in the bathroom, in the shower. So that's where I play my spa music. Spa music, no words, no nothing, just very relaxing. And it calms my mind down from overthinking, helps me relax. And now I've had 10, 15 minutes of just let's just tone it down. And then I start my day with a little bit of meditation. But right then and there is if I listen to music or anybody talking in the morning for the first 15, 20 minutes, my day just gets frazzled. So right then and there, I have to like you guys seen, I've always had my Bluetooth speaker in the washroom, and I have my spa music. And if I don't listen to it there, I've had it on the headphones before I woke up in the bed. And that's how I start my day. But the biggest thing for me is my own paradigm shift. When I see myself getting to the point where if I'm on the road, when things are irritating me, and I'll just stop and be like, do you want the day to go this way? It's up to you how you handle the situation. Because all those other things, like the affirmations, meditations, for me, they're topical to keep you on track, but they don't get down to the root cause. The root cause is you yourself. How do I want to look at life? Do I want to look at it by blaming people, or do I want to just say, shit, I got to take some accountability for why I'm in this situation right now? If I don't like my job, no one's forcing me to be there. I don't live in a dictatorship. I have a choice. I can quit and go find another job.
Great. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So profound.
Sometimes, like I say, you just got to man up.
Yeah.
Man up.
And I got to go after that now.
Yeah, that's
Okay. You left me speechless. Great. That's great advice, both of you. For me, I would have to say the best advice that I can give to anyone that's struggling right now is start paying attention to who's in your inner circle. Try and see how you feel when you surround yourself by certain people, or if you go out in a group, or if you're in a party and there's, certain people that you don't like their energy, if you're not vibing with them. And then if you go out with another group of friends or let's just say people, and you like their energy and you're vibing. So really just pay attention to your social circuit. Like Rose said, that you are, what's the saying go?
An average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
So if predominantly you're hanging around with negative people, you can probably see what the outcome of your lifestyle is going to end up like, and your thoughts are going to be like. But if you predominantly surround yourself, I believe, with positive people, chances are your outlook on life is probably going to improve slowly. It's not the answer to everything, but if you incorporate what Alvin said, what Rose said, what I said, and of course, please go ahead and check online. And, even if you have to go and speak to a therapist, or just ask for help, don't think that you know it all. None of us know it all. We're all just trying to figure it out in life. And these are some of the things that have helped us along the way. And we just want to share that with you. That's all she wrote for me.
I like it. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to say, friends, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. We hope you were able to take away some nuggets of information or anything that can help you through living a blissful, amazing life. Until next week, we are a Tribe Called Dhillon podcast. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
Right. And just want to say one more thing too. For anyone out there is struggling with mental health and they're dealing with a lot, please know there's a lot of help out there. You just got to go look for it. It may not come looking for you, but if you're struggling, please reach out. We live in a society where we have a lot of technology and knowledge at the tip of our fingers, and there's always help out there. So please don't feel like you're alone. That's all. Have a good one. We'll see you again next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.